And I have to say that the green tint and the way the Warner Brothers logo, and they're famous for having productions customize the logo at the beginning, the Wachowskis wanted to actually intentionally make it look more oppressive and scary, so it shows like, yeah, we're against the system. We're kind of like, Warner Brothers and Village Roadshow and those big giant companies. They're like
the police.
Oh, no,
the
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Wow.
With the machine, we must rage against it.
I think he was mentioning that how sort of modern Hollywood films, even today, but also before The Matrix, they would do things like, for instance, like you were mentioning, Tim, an actor would, is just about to punch someone else, and then it cuts to the punch in a different shot to sort of hide actual, instead of actually doing the martial arts, they would just do sort of pretend moves and use camera trickery to cut between things, which can look cool, but it has less impact in the end as opposed to actually executing the martial arts moves. And I think, like we talked about before as well, The Matrix here does an excellent job of incorporating true fighting techniques and practices.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that the actors spent a lot of time working on this choreography. And obviously, you've seen any of the documentaries, they spent like months and months with that and the fight choreography and the driving choreography for the second one. I mean, they were dedicated.
Oh man, they were
It
so
completely
dedicated.
pays off too in the end.
I have some information here about that. In fact, they started training in October 1997.
Whoa.
So that's
Wow.
20 years ago.
But wait, tell me when was the
this
shooting
month.
schedule?
988, was it?
It was 98.
Fall 98
Yeah, it was like
something?
after March because they stopped at March.
Oh.
98. So
Whoa.
October to March. And
Whoa.
they could have all the actors
It's like
could
a
have
school year.
Yeah, they could have done like 2 other productions by the time it took, like all that time it took for them to do the
No
training.
way.
So that was, I have
So like
no
he literally
idea.
did know kung fu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
he literally did.
exactly.
Yen
I wonder
Wu-ping,
if their schedule
they-
was like actual stuff, like extra stuff, or was it just like strictly this choreography? Like they knew it from A to Z. Like,
I think there's a mix of all kinds of exercises and
do you think they still remember it?
At the end of the minute is the shot with Trinity with her hands behind her head, and it's a close-up of her face.
it's like one of the best shots.
One of the side of her eye, and you're going to notice that the cop is in focus as well.
Yeah.
That is not something
Trickery.
a regular lens will be able to do.
Yeah,
And
they have
so
2 lenses
I
pointing
was
at
I
one
was
thing.
thinking, could it be a split diopter lens?
I don't know.
Or
could
a
it-
tilt shift.
Do you guys know?
tilt shift wouldn't.
Do you guys know what a split diopter lens is?
No, tell us.
Well, it's a lens that was popular in the 70s and 80s. It's primarily been used by Brian De Palma in many
Sounds
of his
familiar.
films. He's one of the film brats from the 1960s that came out in the 70s with George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola. He directed movies like Carrie and Scarface, and in this case, I wanted to mention that he was using this split diopter in the movie called Blowout, which he used it extensively. And also the split diopter lenses used in Jaws and Close Encounters. So basically what happens is the lens is literally split in half, where one is
Vertically?
one... Yes, vertically.
Oh,
You can do horizontally, but it's mostly vertically.
You just
so
switch, roll it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
yeah, so you can focus on one thing in the close-up and one thing in the backdrop. So both are in focus.
no
but
way.
But there's always this little seam that you can see that's blurry. So that's a split diopter. And I thought that might be the case with Trinity's shot here.
Or it could be a really big zoom lens.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could have,
with a
went to the
really
future and bought the Lytro.